Hello, our lovely Girl Awakening listeners. Welcome to 2023. I'm Jo Hendy from the Sacred Sister Project.
I'm Amanda Parker of Mayala Organics.
Come with us as we journey into this week's Awakening episode.
I talk to a spirit. She comes in my dreams. She teaches me lessons.
Well, we are back. Very special
Edition.
Our monthly gateway with Zhara, we've decided to call it.
Yes.
Super excited.
Welcome, Zhara.
Oh, so great to be here with you both again.
Yeah.
And everybody. Really
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite.
No, we are we're feeling very honoured and gracious to be in your space as always. So this is going to be a monthly occurrence for around the first.
Numerological portways.
Absolutely.
Portals, not portways.
Yeah.
Numerological portals. Because Zhara came to see us on the 2nd of 2nd for the first time, and then it just came through. We felt it really strongly to keep aligning that monthly. So today, the 3rd of the 3rd, Zhara is with us, and
We're just going to hand it over.
All right.
It's a lot to come through.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you all for having me here once again. And it's really such an important time right now because we are stepping through these galactic portals. And we need to be ready. And so I'm just going to drop right into this.
Please.
And then
Please do.
Amanda, Jo, if you have information that comes through or if you have questions, please go for it,
Yep.
okay? But I'm just going to let the universe take over and deliver the information that wants to be heard.
Yay.
Because remember, when we actually tap into this field, this is not information that is for me, coming through me. This is actually our entire human and galactic lineage coming forward to say it's time to do something for change. And that's all the information that I receive. It's whenever I say, okay, who am I collaborating with? Who am I talking with? It is so loud and clear, it does not matter. All that is coming through for you is what humanity needs to hear at this moment in time. And it is literally each one of us sitting together in the realms saying, let's get together and do the work.
And asking.
Yeah. Exactly. But from that higher perspective, we are all one, and this is literally the source information and the blueprint that wants to be returned to the planet. And so many people are delivering it right now, and
I feel it all down
Me
my
too.
heart. Yeah.
Yay.
and it's
You're
literally
speaking.
just the time for us to unite in that literally return to the glory days, and that's what the book came through all about. And that's when I was
Zhara.
telling Amanda and Jo
So cool.
that after that first portal that we discovered together on
Yeah.
the 2nd of the 2nd, the book just landed within a matter of days, and we're just looking at how to get it out there at the moment. But it has some really incredible information for each of us. And in how to step forward in this era of creation, because we are going through complete transformation and evolution, not just from a galactic standpoint, because that's occurring, but each and every one of us on the individual consciousness level. So it's all interconnected. So why don't we drop into it? Does that sound good?
Let's drop.
Great.
All right. Kumayana Suttasya Daya. So we're just going to set the space. Sutayamana Suttasya. Oh, Sitta Kumayana Sya. So the waves of bliss are here for each one of us, if we'd like to come into that alignment. And we're connecting in with the source gateway, the truth of all of humanity, the truth of all of our lineages, for they have been different for each one of us. But the galactic empire doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we're from, what we're carrying right now. The truth of the matter is we're here to do the work. We're here to evolve our consciousness individually and collectively. Because we are truly one source united. Sutayana Suttasya. Kasutayana Suttasya. So today we're going to talk about the waters within and the waters of our home planet and how it all interconnects. Because there are solutions for each of these, and we need to start thinking about how to take that on board and how it all interrelates with our evolutionary path as a human race. So we have polluted the waters within and without. Our environment as an individual, and our environment as a planetary species. And so it's a restoration of these bodies of water that will change everything. And how can we do that efficiently? That's what we want to look at. Frequency is, in fact, everything. When it comes down to it, all we need to do is change the frequency of the entire planet, and life goes on as normal. Because we are coming to the golden age. Many of us remember this. We knew life before this planetary realm, before it was corrupted, before it was taken over, before it was held in chains. And that includes the individual and the collective consciousness. So we're coming back to our own memories now. So many people are awakening. So many people are reclaiming their sovereignty, breaking the binds that have been held, holding that human evolution. It's perfect timing as always. This is the time it was always going to occur. That we can fast track the process. And so we must look at the water as that fast track. How can we clean the waters of the planet and restore the waters of the soul moving forward? Because Source is not outside of you. It's truly an internal combustion engine. And that's the flame that sits within the heart space. Now the flame, it's intensified through the electromagnetic process that's held within your coding, within your DNA, within the individual collective field, and within the hierarchy of the human race. You all have coding. You all have activity that's taking place at a biochemical level. How do you upgrade that process? How do you ensure that that process is working smoothly? That is truly encountering the glitches and restoring them to their original intent. Because remember, the human form is not the only thing that was taken over. It's your entire biochemical and biomechanical processes. They were installed with false matrices, and it was a very intended design. And so what we're doing is coming out of that paradigm now. Many of you are evolved souls. So it's happening quite quickly for you. And it's happening rapidly for humanity as a whole. They either come with or they die off. Because we're riding these ascension waves. These frequencies of homecoming. And so we can keep up or we can abandon ship. It's a soul's choice. It's a soul's journey. And there really is no right or wrong. We're all in it together, regardless of which avenue we take. So we don't need to take the homecoming that most of us would like. Because when we do go that route, there's more fun, there's more individual expression, there's more joy, there's more love, there's reconnection to Source from all aspects. The other road's a bit of a darker passageway, but all roads lead back to the sea. They all lead back to the eternal stream of consciousness, which is Source Divine, which is the creator of all that is, which is only a reflection of the external and the internal self combined. We're all going home regardless. So we don't need to put on pity parties for anyone anymore. If someone is choosing a pathway of descent, love them all the same. It truly does not matter. There are those that are sitting on the fence, that don't know that two avenues are opening up. And they do need to make choices. And it's a whole lot easier to make a choice if you know there is a choice to be made. There's just a lack of information, a lack of integration as well. And that's why all you light workers are coming online, here to help humanity raise their collective frequency by first focusing on your own. And so let's look at the fast track today. Your waters need to be taken care of. The majority of the ascension waves, they focus fully on your waters. The planetary waters, but also the internal streams. And so the conductivity, the electromagnetic fields, are held within water. What is the quality of the vibration? How much can you amplify your frequency? How much can you hold? How much can you store? If your data drive is full, where does the information go? And that's why it's important to clean up the water. Remember, you're a conductor and you're a transceiver of light. Where is that light information being stored? It's within your waters. And that's the water of the planet and the person. So the first thing you must focus on in this ascension process is cleaning up the waters of the planet and the person. And there are solutions that are simple, that are truly simple. And that's what we'd like you to all do. Get together and find those solutions. It's something that can't be done with the head, though. It must be done with the heart. Knowing that you're all one galactic family, one big interdimensional tribe, coming together to restore the planet. There cannot be competition in these measures. It has to be done from a pure free will to help the evolution and the consciousness of the human race. Because the planet will go regardless. The planet doesn't need you. It has never needed you. It has been a birthplace of creation for all to flourish, for all to thrive. But we've done it a great disservice over time. This is our mother. How do you restore connection with the woman who has raised you? You communicate to this being. You start to become one with her again. You don't leave her to die. You do what you can to help. And we have not been helping in the ways that we can, because we're so split and fractured as a collective consciousness. We want greed. We want power. We want to be on top. That's how the dominant male species has portrayed their legacy to planet Earth. And it has to begin again. A fresh start, a fresh foundation, a fresh place to move from, a tribe of people coming together to truly give back to the earth that is so well nurtured the existence of this species. Do you think the earth is revolting when you look at what is happening? Waterways breaking down. The spill of chemicals. The revolt of the indigenous species on the land. For they are there. Everyone is there screaming to you. The indigenous elders who are not in physical form anymore. They still stand by you. They want you to hear them. They want you to call to them for the advice, because they are trying to get through to you. They know how to do this. They know how to restore the vibration of the land and that of the people. It's called community consent. They want to sit with you in circle. They want to gather with you in tribes. They want their voices heard as well. They want to become one with you in all things, just as a cosmic consciousness is aligning. They want to be recognized for their values. They want you to know that they know how to take care of the earth. And that you've just been ignorant on how to do it. So many of you are trying. So many of you are doing your best. But the only thing that's missing is that community consultation. Not just with the indigenous, not just with the spirits of the land, but with the water molecule itself. This is God. It is not lost from their consciousness. It's not lost from our collective consciousness. You see these reverberations happening. People catching this cosmic eclipse. This wave of energy coming through. It's trying to restore the understanding of water. Many people are doing it. Look at your scientists. Look at your fringe leaders. Look at the elders of the land. There is research. There is supporting evidence that water is where it started and water is where it will end. And so that's why we're asking to come in full community consultation to restore the living waters of the planet. And it's done with a purity of heart, where greed steps aside, power plays diminish, and you do it for the right reasons, for the solutions abound. And it's literally putting down the hands of competition and putting up the hands of tribal consent. You are a humanity nation. Bring back that knowledge to yourself. You can do this together. There are always ways to collaborate. Can you come together as one large tribe to solve the problems of your waterways? to solve the problems within. It's nothing but a reflection of the eternal essence of self, the consciousness that abounds within water. It is you. It is you on every single level. You are made from the water molecule. Your frequency is ingrained in the water molecule. Kasita sutaya sumaya sutasya. Manasyata sutaya manasutasya. Your frequency is embedded in every single living organism and that which is not on planet Earth. The one way to strengthen it, to truly make sure you do this job together, is to get highly ingrained, highly in depth with the research of water. If we can come together to do this, efforts do not go fractalized. They stand in unity, supporting each other, working together to create a humanity like no one has ever known. It is a return of the golden age on this planet. And we must start with the water molecules. All right, that's all it's for now. But
That's
sorry, I just had a bit some crying because it really just hits me hard.
A page
absolutely.
of writing, like things that just like astounded and resonated so powerfully, and we could feel the emotion in your in what was coming through, especially when you're speaking of the elders and ancestors.
There's been some real incredible communication I've had with some native spirits of the land recently, and
They're crying out.
They are not crying, they are screaming, and they are upset. There's so many that are so upset, and they're starting to revolt, and the message was actually asked for me to deliver to certain areas and to certain people. And I kind of actually sat on it for a bit because it was loud and clear, but I didn't want to disturb anyone's mode of consciousness and where they were at. But the universe provided, just like very clear opportunities, and the messages were well received. But there's some areas of land in our on the Gold Coast, our vicinity, that have been really abused, and issues are happening there. And it's literally because the natives are revolting. So the spirits of the land, as well as the indigenous elders that still reside there in spirit form. And so it's been massive. It's been like really massive lately to listen to these cries for help, and all they want is literally community consent. That's what they've been telling me, is we just need to come together as a tribe. You need to respect that you as humans are not the only ones living here. And it just has to be done, because it's not just here that's happening. They're revolting everywhere because they want that unity consciousness and that oneness. And there's so many levels this is operating at, the display of separation, so to speak. And so it is awareness that is very real. And I think it does come to the people in power at the moment, or the people who have made names for themselves in this world, who can actually speak on behalf of those that want a voice. Right? Because there are people out there that get this. And they're not speaking for fear of retribution, essentially. Right? Whether that's public dissent or whatever it may be. But these are the people you have been put on this earth in your position right now to literally give a voice to those unheard. And we are in this position where we're either going downhill or up, and it's coming together right now. That is, I'm being presented with, is the only solution. And so it does start with the self, right? And healing the heart wounds and coming back to that individual expression. There's so many layers.
So many layers. And interestingly enough, the NAIDOC theme for this year is the elders.
Right.
So an Australian Indigenous people's honouring this year as the year of the elders.
Okay.
I think last year was community, or in this, but just So it's interesting how accidentally, on purpose, synchronistically, these things come together.
Yeah.
But obviously, what the elders have to offer and what the elders and the land, the ancestral energies, it's we can't ignore that community aspect anymore, really, because I can think of one issue on the Gold Coast that's been quite controversial that's happening, and one of the key pieces of land that's involved has a lot of indigenous energy it's very contentious in this particular development that's happening.
And they're literally holding a revolt there, and that's what I was shown and what I was being asked to relay as information. It's like we're about to get serious and nasty, and they were saying we're not going to stop because no one's listening, and we need our voices heard.
We're very apathetic. It's really
it was deep. It was but I think that's where we're at. It's no excuse my French, but it's no more fucking around. It's like I'm just thinking, like, from my own thoughts with you talking, it's like, we're talking about beings that we can't see.
Yes.
But it's like, it's time to start trusting, and that we need to actually start asking for things outside of the norm, so to speak. And there are people that aren't physically here anymore that are hurting, and we need to acknowledge them and be able to support them just like we would support them if they were here, screaming out or crying out. We need to start trusting in those forces that are not seen but are still very, very valid and need to be validated.
Yes. And that is in that, if you told me this 5 years ago, I would get it because I had that understanding, but I hadn't had the actual experience.
Yeah.
And so it is harder to relate, I think, for some people.
Yeah.
But if we can open up the dialogue for all of those who are actually having these experiences. And having these encounters with, whether they be galactic races or whether they be the spirits of the land, or the nature spirits or whoever it is, and not judge any of that or be critical, right, of what dimensional realm people are coming from. It doesn't matter. No. Because it all comes back to the oneness of the universe as
absolutely.
a whole.
We're all in this together. We are all one. Yeah,
we are. And so it is also about recognizing that in the dark side as well, and those who are here to, perpetrate harm. They're actually a pathway to our evolution as well. And so it is coming out of the judgment that we've got as a human race, no matter where it's aimed at, and just finding that space of true unconditional love. And it doesn't mean, don't fight, but it means do it from a completely different angle and just say no. That's all. It's all it is. It's like, no, that's not going to work anymore. Okay, we need to put something else in place now.
Take action.
In
the
other
own
thing,
little way, big way.
The other thing that I was just getting just now too is, like, there is this flavor of this, it's not a flavor, it's like this theme of transformation, big transformation coming through, right? And it's about, cleaning up the parts of us that have been suppressed and avoided for very long periods of time. And I'm just thinking, if we can put that same context into exactly what you're talking about, it's like, for so long we haven't cared about the oceans or the waterways or any of that. They're just there.
Well, it's another oil spill. I mean, we haven't had those before. We've still got the ocean, but,
put that over here. So, it's the same, exactly what you're saying. It's like, it's cleaning out the shit that we've avoided looking at forever, because now it's got to the point that if we don't start looking after those areas, they're going to take us out. And that's exactly what's happening. Mother Earth is saying, I've had enough. Fuck yous all. You're not listening to me anymore. I'm going to now start screaming, and I'm going to start puking, and I'm going to start bucking, and I'm going to start, whatever, earthquaking and cracking and shaking at my core to wake you guys up.
And here's the thing, is that's just a reflective of our collective consciousness and our individual selves. So we're literally doing this to ourselves right now. And so we can listen, or we can continue to go down the drain, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Well, all this reflection, I mean, you see a reflection in the mirror, you see a reflection in the water, But
Beautiful.
The astrology of it all, like we've been talking, so much overlay on every level, like where you're being spoken to and sharing conversations, through the universe, through the galactic energies, through people around you, Zhara. Like all the planetary bodies as well are reflecting the same thing around, like Pluto going into Aquarius, Uranus going into Aries. It's all about disruption. It's all about dissolving of the old ways, another metaphor for water dissolving, and things around. We were talking about the Aquarius waters of knowledge, even though Aquarius is an air sign. It's all about change. And if we don't take these big steps, because these are big planetary bodies with a lot of heavy weight, rolling them forward, the disruption occurs, as you say, the earthquakes, the fires, the
floods, everything.
Yeah. So everything is in harmony. Everything is in resonance. Everything is working together. It's kind of our lack of community consciousness, lack of our community consent, our separateness, which has been heavily influenced the last couple of years, that is not empowering where we can all be taking, as you say, that joyful road home. That it just can't get any more clearer, can it? It's like all louder, as you say. You're
for some of us, and I'm understanding now. I'm getting it. It's like things are clicking into place for me. Just that it is as a collective, but each individual person is on their own journey, and they have to be the ones that makes that choice.
Yes,
and then if we all join and do our own part fully, then we are as a collective evolving and transforming what's occurring.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is like the Pluto and Aquarius. In Aquarius. Aquarius is the humanities sign. Humanity, the collective.
Wow.
And I think, it's so important to realize that even the ones who are pulling the huge power plays and have been for millennia on this planet, even they are playing their integral role in guiding us all home. We are not separate. Everyone who is doing damage on this planet,
so they're all just
or
playing
to the
their
humans,
part.
we're all playing our part. This is a game, and we're literally all showing each other the road home. So we have to step out of the victim-victimizer consciousness and only see that as a reflection of the self. It's
beautiful,
and it's such an important realization to have, because then we can stop the wars, then we can stop the divides, then we can actually cross those boundaries and say, I love you regardless of what you're displaying. I may not stay there, and I may say no more, but I can actually accept you for where you are at as a reflection of the eternal self, because that's what it is. Everything out there is an eternal reflection of the source, which we are only a fractalized part of.
And it's bringing us up out of that density of blame and all of that, isn't it? It's lifting us up, even though we don't have to like what they're doing, but we can be grateful for what they're doing, because it's showing us where we need to look next, or where we need to go next.
Or our choice is to change their path, or not allow them to say no, as you said, that power of the word no. Because you want to build a nuclear plant there. Well, no, there's better ways to do this. Let's look at the better option. It's like those powerful choices. Why are we still continuing to do things that are not in the best interests of tomorrow? We have the understanding of better ways.
And there are much better ways. And look, and there are still forces at play that don't want those better ways to come out. And that's fine. But as a collective consciousness, we can actually ask for those better ways to appear. So that's where the power of the water molecule gets really cool. Because if you actually intend together, that is a spark that goes so much further than just individuated flames, right? So that is a collective call to humanity to ask in unison. And that's what I'm being shown a lot of, is to ask in unison for the answer. Ask in unison for things to change, for things to shift, knowing that the solutions are already available.
Yeah.
And it's literally just coming together in a physical form to implement. And it doesn't need to be disruptive. It doesn't need to be cataclysmic.
No.
Some of these solutions are actually quite simple, and they can go under the radar. They can go unnoticed. They just literally are slips in the stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
And the water molecule.
Yeah.
And that starts to change the evolution of the human form, but also the greater bodies of water that we're living in. Yeah.
Literally in.
Because this is a womb of creation.
Yeah.
Like density is nothing more than a body of water. It's like the womb. You've got to start looking at the microcosms within the whole. Think about where you grow as a human being.
Yeah.
It's just actually showing you the greater cosmos that's occurring. And it's something that I don't have my whole understanding around yet, but I get a lot of information around it. And it's like my consciousness isn't necessarily quite ready to receive the full enormity of it.
Yeah.
But there is something about us actually being a part of that greater source of life, which is only water. And so
interesting.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. So have a look more into that. But
I know Sarah Alcaldi, who I'm a fan of too, The Alchemist.
Yes.
She talks a lot about water being the most powerful alchemist of all,
Right.
because it can get through everything. It can get through metal. It can get, it just literally can work its way into everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is like the information needs to come together, because I didn't know that she talked specifically about that, but that is why we have to start with the water.
Yeah.
Or one of the reasons why we have to start with the water molecule. And I was telling you earlier before we started recording that another solution is just like dropped in my lap, as well as the experts to go along with it, to just take bodies of water on the planet. And they're already starting it, but they're starting it, I feel like it's going to start en masse soon. And it's literally just a group of people that needs to align to create a funding mechanism that can self-fund, so that we can literally just change the environment overnight.
Yeah.
And I really mean that. This is just such a simple solution. And combining it with the minerals, it actually makes it an affordable solution. Because before I was like, oh, this will do it, but there's no way. Like, it's just, even if someone dropped $1 billion, it's like, you can do it, but it just seems like there's a component missing.
Yeah.
Right.
And this other solution, you don't actually have to go and redose. It seems to bring life back so fast and so easily. I mean, it's crazy what's available right now.
Well, this is the whole the new technologies that have been talked about coming out for a long time, and there's a lot around metals and crystals and stuff like that. Minerals and crystals, and that it will change.
And even the med beds, it talks about the med beds for a while, and whether that's a metaphorical term, and these are actually the methods for the life to come back, and the disease to dissolve, those aspects of where we've polluted ourselves and our planet to dissolve.
It's really a beautiful time. It's such a hopeful time, and I don't even want to use the word hopeful. It's an inspiring time, because things are changing, and they're changing rapidly. They're changing so fast. The frequencies on the planet are so intense, and such waves of light coming in. We just need to be able to hold them. So
stay in them.
We're holding them. We're holding them as a collective really, 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 really well. But we could intensify the process by focusing on the waters, like really focusing on the areas where we can improve. And it just shows shows respect back to the land and to the community of the tribals that are there that we've been ignoring for so long.
Exactly. Where we've just taken it for granted. Like, we live and walk on this planet, and yet we just so take it for granted.
I think one of the things I've been noticing is, like, with the indigenous peoples of American and Native Indians, some of their language around the planet and nature and their environment, it's just so emotive and so as if they are talking to their elder. But it's so much, it like disappeared for a while. Like it was around, I guess, 70s and 80s, you know, sharing of that Indigenous language and poetry, I call it. And then it disappeared, and now it just seems to be coming back. And for me, I'm just thinking, when you said about the conversations you're having with the elders, I don't know, is it the way of them kind of trying to get to the masses as well, where people are feeling like they want to share their poetry or their
or even light
communication.
language too, I'm thinking too.
And light language, yes, wow, yeah,
all of it. And it's like this coding can return to the planet really quickly, but there are people in positions of power I know that have had activations. I know where they're at. There's some very in particular people I know in this area that hold pretty esteemed names, and they're in hiding for fear of judgment. Or retribution on some level.
So they actually know what's happening.
Totally.
Oh, wow.
And they've got such information.
So how do we show them they're supported? Because
do they know that though? Do they really know that? They do know that.
Supported. Like there's so many we can support.
There's some incredible people out there in power right now who have the
that
resources
know this information but are not willing
and
to.
doing it. Look, because they're doing it in their own way. Some people maybe are not supposed to speak out, and they're supposed to stay hidden, and they're supposed to stay in those positions where they can work from a distance. And like, there's no judgment on that, but it's like if you are called to speak out.
Yes.
And I'm coming to terms that is with If you're called to speak out, we need to start together. And I know there are people that are coming that have names that will start to really come online if they haven't already. And start to lead the charge of these waves. And I mean the waves of the water. And to restore planetary health, and not just from a purification. Oh, this is actually a really good point. I was talking to one of my colleagues this morning who's just got that science brain and you know, knows everything. And he was just saying that you've got to use a process of addition. If you just have this simple formula of process of addition, then you solve so many problems of the land and remediation with the waters and the soil. Because we think that if we're filtering our water internally, or if we're just looking at wastewater treatment, for example, which is what we're doing right now on the bigger scale. If you're just looking at that and you're looking at removing the contaminant so that you're flushing out a recycled product that is better for the environment, you're still flushing out dead water. You're still intaking dead water. All we need to do is the process of addition, and then we actually can make significant change, because then you start to remediate the soil. You have the minerals and this other product that is incredibly life-giving. Like it is insane.
Where does it come from?
It's from it's an Australian company.
Is it made? Is it something that's man-made?
It's something that's man-made. And they don't give any details on what it is, but I actually got intuitively when I tuned into it, I was told exactly what it is. I won't say it because they're keeping their proprietary secrets.
Yes.
But when you combine the two, I was just told this is the way of the future. And it's not to exclude anything else that's coming or out there, but like right now we can literally just tap into the waterways with dosing systems, which I met a guy who's already created them.
Right.
He's got the entire system, and we can just add to bodies of water. He's been doing it. Like with the minerals, it's been done on that larger scale, but his product as well, they've been doing it and finding phenomenal growth with aquaculture and just everything cleaning up so fast. And so for me, it's like, okay, it's time now to really call together that conglomeration that can really action.
But isn't this what?
Yes.
They don't want us to do that though.
But if we do it in a called way, it will happen, because this is divine intervention, and it's also destiny at work. It's also destiny, and this is what I get loud and clear. And the people that I've been led to are just
I feel that adrenalized excitement of like, this is it.
this is it. And the shift that will occur will be so rapid and so quick, because the water will be vibrating life. And it will be restoring our internal organisms as well as the external.
Well, this is funny. Now the other things are coming out now too, because Elizabeth April she did a YouTube video last year talking about this year, saying that if we only knew how dead our soil, she talked more about the soil, which then our food is grown in, and we're actually eating. like tiny minuscules of the frequency that we could be getting.
Exactly.
So this is exactly what you're talking about, right? Okay.
And this is where life effects comes in, because if you look, this is from volcanic sulfate, right? And so if you looked at the waters gone by, the waters of the past, we used to have healing springs all across the planet,
right? Yes,
and that is from volcanic sulfate.
Yes, it is.
It's all sulfur minerals,
so much.
Yeah.
Right? And so you still have more over there than you do in most of the places in the world, but so many have dried up. And so if we're intaking those sulfur minerals, we've got a content that's coming from the source.
Yes.
And then we're starting to revitalize and revamp.
Yes.
And for everyone, it depends where we're at in our conscious evolution as to how far and how much it can actually take hold and vibrate within. But that is the conductor of our life, are those minerals, that electrical charge in the water. That's how we hold that frequency.
Yes.
And so we restore the soil, we restore the agriculture, the aquaculture. They're all holding that frequency of life,
which has been taken away from us forever.
I know, and it's a lot due to ignorance of the human race.
This is massive.
It's been withheld. It's been withheld information.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, then we look at disease, and we look at
It's literally, the secret is in the water molecule.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hands down, secret is there.
Yeah,
and it's a way to restore really fast.
I'm with you. Yeah,
I get it loud and clear that if we just come together in a way that creates change really fast, which means dropping the egos. Okay, how do we do it?
Yeah. Bang, bang, bang. Let's get on with it.
You're an expert in this. Great. You do that. You're an expert here. Great.
Before anyone can come in and say,
Yeah.
Well, no,
and they won't even
law
do
against
it.
that. No, I don't think. It doesn't. It feels there'll be a tidal wave.
Yeah.
Because it is that human consciousness coming together, and so it needs to move in such a rapid way where it is it's all the water molecules coming together in a tidal wave to ensure change happens.
That might be the tsunami they've been talking about. It's like the
Literally,
literal human tsunami and not a physical water tsunami.
Yeah, not one to be afraid of.
No.
As in,
Wow, I'm totally with you. I'm like, it's just been like, bing.
Yeah. It's a tidal wave of
and it actually starts with, no, this is not an endorsement, but it does start with self, and I mean, you've got the life effects,
which we've been having.
We've been having
friends with stories. I've having
got friends,
experiences with my mother and myself with the water.
It's incredible. It's incredible, and I understand that frequency is going to lift us to then become more aware of everything else that's happening around us, to then become more conscious and wanting to help and repair and come together and
and your cells can clean out the crap that we've stored there. You know, so it is. And again, like, I understand, I don't want to endorse anything either, but, and I haven't my entire life, but when I found something, I'm like, okay, share it to the world, because this is it. And I've had businesses before where I haven't really been able to speak, because I'm like, oh, not everyone needs this, so how can I in integrity actually just start to shout it?
I feel like you're like the water princess now.
Yeah. Joe's always been calling you the Hawaiian princess,
but now you're the water princess.
Well, there was actually a girl in New Zealand, coincidentally, who is a photographer, and she's been taking photos of Pam Gregory speaks of her, and I checked her out, and it's amazing. Freezing water.
I've been looking at her work recently.
Fantastic, amazing stuff. Mother's breast milk and tap water doesn't freeze like anything. It's like all weird angles and this and that. But when you do rainwater or spring water or breast milk or even there was one lady who was thinking of a friend of hers who passed and what message he would pass to her. And it actually makes you a bit emotional because the beautiful patterns. It's really, we'll put it in with Zhara's things from today, this connection as well. This one girl who froze some waters thinking about her friend that had just passed, and when she got it out, she could see letters in it, and it traced as "I'm love." Just
my
incredible.
goodness.
So the intelligence of water and certain liquids is incredible.
It's phenomenal, and it's her name's Veda Austin.
That's it.
And I highly recommend everyone to
Yeah.
check her out, as well as Dr. Gerald Pollack's work, because they're on that leading scientific edge
Wow.
of looking at consciousness in water. Actually, Veda's doing the consciousness in water, but Gerald's looking at it from a scientific standpoint and finding the fourth phase of water. And that's what the life effects will do, is actually creates fourth phase water. And so when we actually look at how that interrelates, it's interesting because I wrote about it in the book that that came through.
Yes,
and
beautiful.
it's let me just drop in for a second,
Yeah.
because what had come through about that messaging is that we need to use it for a higher purpose.
Yeah.
So Veda Austin is looking at, and I haven't looked at a lot of her work, just some of the Instagram photos,
Yeah,
but
same.
she's looking at how consciousness affects matter affects water, and then water changes the vibration of the cells. And she's looking at it in individuated cases, and she may be doing more, but if she applied that to the larger spectrum of what we're looking at for on Earth, which is literally putting a gateway to heaven in place through the water molecule, and that's combining the consciousnesses of the entirety of the planet.
Wow. Oh,
And
God,
so it's
mind-blowing.
literally getting everyone on that same page, that they are love, they are the creator, they are literally the creator of life, because they are the water molecule embodied. And it's just having that source frequency come through. And so her work to me is just like that phenomenal edge of research that's needed for people to see proof that they affect matter with every thought they think, with every vibration they put out into the universe, with every communication, literally every object. Because I've seen photos where there's actually literally an object placed next to it.
Yes.
But it actually comes down, what I got, and I'm happy to be wrong about this, but what I got is that it's the power of the intent.
Yes.
So if you don't have that intent that this is going to create change, then you may get a varied result.
Yeah.
And her intent is so powerful. And the people who are following her, their intents and their belief systems have been so rewired to look at something from a different angle that it is working in mass.
Wow.
And I've had people, who said, I've done those experiments, they don't work.
Yeah.
And their consciousness just isn't quite ready to receive that vibration and that amazing. So
amazing.
It's fascinating.
It's so fascinating. It's so
Because they actually have a
fascinating.
thing like that in science where the observer, and we've spoken about where the observer can influence the experiment.
Yeah.
Basically, so it's it's a very strong principle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Of quantum physics, I guess you would call it, but of reality. Yeah.
And so we can affect anything. And when we do that together, that is the tidal wave, that
Powerful.
is the tsunami that comes together, is this body of water of consciousness that just, that just takes us home. I mean, that's where we're going.
Beautiful.
That's where we're going.
I love it. I wish we had more time. We're going to have to end it there. But for anybody that's listening and it's resonating, literally resonating, buzzing.
It's slightly mind blowing.
Yeah,
my heart's just beating so
yes,
fast.
yes. I went through a bit of a, dip and flow through that whole podcast. But Zhara has Life FX Water, which we have talked about. If this resonates with you, you can definitely start right there. It's freaking incredible.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a high vibe frequency drop that you can pop in any type of water that will lift its energy levels, I suppose, activate it straight away. Yeah. We have a 15% off for all the Girl Awakening listeners, which you can jump on the website, or you can go straight onto LifeFX, or you can jump onto Zara's Instagram, which we'll leave on the bottom of this page. But I'm a big endorser of this product. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think at the moment, we're already in the month of March. Life is feeling very fast. But I think just talking to many people out in the community, there is a lot of different levels of how people are feeling, like either mentally and emotionally, but definitely physically.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you're saying today, Zara, about cleaning up our waters on a planetary level, but also on a personal, physical level. That's, where it all starts in the most simple way is to look at the water you're drinking, look at how much water you're drinking, clean out your waters, your cells.
Yeah.
Think about activating your cells, and just, again, that probably sounds like an endorsement, but it's, maybe it's more of an call to experiment with yourself.
Yeah.
Try like the Life FX and see how you observe yourself. See if there's what changes. See if
Great
your we
idea.
changes.
Yeah.
That's what's your we.
What you eat.
That's huge.
It affected me within 12 hours. So totally. Give it a go. I say be curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be
about
curious.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely why these monthly gateways, we felt called to share them with you, was to kind of bring that bigger awareness around being curious, using your discernment, looking at expansion, getting into that whole community aspect of thinking, why are you here? And if you want to be here, make it good.
Oh, yes, Amanda. Love that.
Make it
Make
great.
it incredible. Because
Yes.
we have that potentiality.
Yeah.
We have that potentiality so clearly
So
now.
clearly, yeah.
We just have to get through these little portals that we're all going through.
Yeah.
Yes.
So beautiful.
Can I just add, so
Please.
in the life effects will clean up the water really
Yeah.
quickly. Chemicals, pharmaceuticals, fluoride, chlorine, pathogens, E. coli, all the bacteria and the viruses. And it is that gateway to ascension. I have a lot of clairvoyants who are customers, and they see the fifth dimensional planes opening for them just so clearly. And so, look, we actually, I believe in it so much, we actually have a no questions asked return full refund policy as well. So you could do the whole bottle and be like, I don't like it. And then you could send it back, because that's how much I believe in what we do.
But you won't, because if you get through the whole bottle, you'll be fully in your integrity, and you'll be like,
Give me more.
Yeah. No.
And
I'd like to also just say, like, there is a really big call to get that community together. So I've got a lot going on, but if there are people out there listening that really want to head that, or want to come together and just have a meeting about where we can go, and I've already got some really amazing people I'm working with, and they're kind of, they've got their individual lanes, but I feel like it's that community consultation that's needed. And so if there are people listening who just want to start the effort, please reach out.
absolutely.
Like,
I'll
would love
leave an
to
email or
just-
something at the bottom.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Because I would love to just move that forward, but I know it's not me to head the charge.
Yeah.
It's me to speak about it, but someone else
No, I have a
to
feeling.
really like just take it and go. if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
everyone has a role.
Yeah, exactly.
It may be you listening right now. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Zara.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Amanda.
See you next month.
Thank you, Zara.
Looking forward to it. Gracias.
Thank you for listening, and remember, all links to our guest are in the notes. Leave us some comment here or message us on Instagram how our guest today connected with you, or perhaps something you wish to share. A special thank you to the blissful Ksenia Luki for our theme song. Joe and I will be with you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.
She teaches me lessons, and boy does she sing. Her voice sways like a hummingbird, flies like a shooting star. She whispers, you were never born, so you will never die.